Adventures of the Female Aviator from 1942 to 1944. Parker took over the newspaper strip Flying Jenny when the regular artist Russell Keating went into service in 1943. Jenny was a blonde aviatrix battling the Nazis during World War II. After the war, Parker's Mopsy continued to grow in popularity, reaching 300 papers while also getting a comic from St. John's in 1947 and the Pageant of Comics, before getting her own 2 years later, which ran for 19 issues from February of 1949 to September of 1953. Before her death on April 28, 1966, at the age of 58 from lung cancer, Parker would be accepted into the Society of Illustrators and the National Cartoonist Society, having retired Mopsy with her in 1965. Glass's Mopsy also helped with the war effort by joining WAC as a wave and as an Army air nurse and a member of the Motor Corps. Inez Townsend did Greta Gertie in 1904 and 1905, and later, under the name Inez Tridbit, did Snooks and Snicks, the Mischievous Twins, another strip of Mischievous Twins getting in trouble. Mary A. Hayes produced Kate and Carl, the Cranford Kids, from 1911 to 1912. The name of Cranford was an in-joke to the editor, Fred Crane, of the Philadelphia North American Comic Syndicate, who came from Cranford, New Jersey. Crane is notable for also publishing Jean Moore, Inez Tidbit, Gracie Dalton, and Catherine Price, and as a result, probably published more women cartoonists than anyone else at the time. Virginia Hewitt was born in Dallas, Texas in 1899, where she met her husband, Coons William Hoodsit. Studying at the Art Institute of Chicago, she changed her last name to Huguet when she created The Gentlemen Prefer Blondes in 1926, her first comic strip, which she sold to the Bell Syndicate. Then Huguet did Babes in Society in 1927, a full-color Sunday strip in 1928, where she did Campus Capers and then The Floor's Fling. In 1929, she did Miss Aladdin and the Lux Soap ads. In 1936, Huguet produced Dizzy Dolly's Dinners and later took over Skippy for Percy Crosby in 1937. In 1944, she took over Oh Diana as Virginia Clark from the artist Don Flowers. It was originally an adventure strip under Flowers, but under Clark, it became a teen strip. Dot Cochran was born in Toledo, Ohio in 1901, with her father being the editor of Toledo Bee, brother a cartoonist, and sister and other brothers also cartoonists. She would later become the aunt of Martha Blanchard, who did the single-panel cartoons and Collier's in the Saturday Evening Post, and sister-in-law to Frederick Oper, creator of Alphonse and Gaston and Happy Hooligan. Naturally, with a family like that, it was only a matter of time before she became a cartoonist herself, as Cochran did Dot and Dodo and Me and My Boyfriend. All this ended, though, when she married in 1927 and moved to England, where she illustrated children's books instead. Dorothy Ufer did Annabelle, a single-panel strip that first appeared in December of 1929 as part of the women's page of the newspaper Enterprise Association Every Week section. The series was a humor strip revolving around the title character's social life and was even reprinted in the comic book The Funnies. Rena Krausman would take over this strip on March of 1936, with the series lasting to October 15th of 1939. Marjorie Henderson was born on December 11, 1904, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Growing up with two sisters, they would draw cartoons and birthday cards and other family events as children. However, it was Marjorie who demonstrated a true talent, and by age 8, she had become talented enough to sell cards to her friends. By 16, Marjorie Henderson sold her first professional work to the Public Ledger, and soon her work was appearing in numerous other humor magazines and periodicals, such as Collier's, Life, and Judge. By the late 1920s, she was going by the name Marge with her first syndicated strip, The Boyfriend, which runs from 1925 to 1926. Marge also created Dashing Dot around the same time, and like The Boyfriend, both starred female leads. Her big break came in 1934, though, when the Saturday Evening Post requested Marge created a strip to replace Carl Anderson's Henry, which featured the hijinks of the mute young boy. In response, she created Little Lula, this time starring a little girl, as Marge felt she could get away with more stunts than a boy. The first single-panel cartoon of the series appeared in the Saturday Evening Post on February 23, 1935, featuring the title character serving as a flower girl at a wedding, but instead of throwing flowers, she's throwing banana peels, which would naturally lead to comic effect. The single-panel format would continue in the Post until December 30th, 1944, and then continue as a regular comic strip. Unusual for the time, Marge retained the rights to Little Lulu, and as a result was able to benefit from the lucrative marketing deals involved with the character, such as with Kleenex, for which Little Lulu will become the product's first mascot. Marge ceased drawing the strip herself in 1947, only doing occasional work for the advertisements, but by 1950 it was nationally syndicated to Chicago Tribune, New York News World Syndicate. While maintaining creative control, Marge would see Little Lulu move into comic books, cartoons, greeting cards, and more, with the strip even being translated in numerous languages for international release. Biola would eventually sell the rights to Little Lulu in 1971 to Western Publishing when she retired. She would pass away on May 30th, 1993 from lymphoma in Ohio at the age of 88. To date, her original art is still highly prized, with the original panel for Little Lulu selling for $9,200 in 2005. Faye King was born in March of 1889 in Seattle, Washington. Noted for being an adventurous woman for the time, she was one of the first in her area to own an automobile. As a cartoonist, she would put herself into strips, often taking a personal nature, which appeared in the Denver Post, the San Francisco Examiner, and the New York Evening Journal. Having a colorful personal life helped as well, notably when she married lightweight boxing champion Oscar Matthew Battling Nelson in 1913, only to have a widely covered divorce in 1916. In 1918, King produced a comic inspired by the ordeal, My Favorite Post, and then strip Maisie in 1924, along with Girls Will Be Girls from 1924 to 1925. King even appeared on film in 1924 with the comedy The Great White Way, which also featured fellow cartoonists Winsor McKay and George McManus. Despite such a colorful early life, King would die in obscurity, and with the date of her death believed to be sometime around 1954. And with that, we will conclude that list of short biographies of the numerous women cartoonists throughout the American comic book medium. But join me again next week as we continue more with an even larger and greater list as these cartoonists move on from the comic strips to eventually the comic books themselves. And now it is January 9th, 2020, time for the favorite comic book of the week. Batman number 86 by James Tynion IV and Tony S. Daniels, which finds Batman launching a new plan to rebuild Gotham after the devastation that Bane and the alternate dimension Thomas Wayne wrought on it, all while setting up the new team of them with, of course, Catwoman and Lucius Fox helping. Tynion does a great job resetting this new setup, especially with the team dynamic. It's fun to see Catwoman still working as an anti-hero, helping Batman with his plan, though still claiming she's going to rob people half blind if they don't get her way. And of course, there are some nice, more serious moments too, as apparently Lucius Fox is stepping in the role of Alfred, which does still hit Batman pretty hard. And all that matched with Tony S. Daniels' brilliant art, which is usual detailed and action-packed. He always is a great Batman. And this series looks to set up, while a little darker than expected, looks to set up a nice dynamic as new plans coming to foot, just when Batman's trying to get settled back on the more solid ground. Overall, it looks to be a nice run to this new creative team. Overall, I still like Tom King's run, ups and downs, but I'm looking forward to this run so far. Also, I finally got caught up on Sword Art Online, the anime series based on the classic manga, which is in season 3 of Authorization. For those that know, basically it takes place in a near future world where this large video game in which people can download their whole brains in, almost like a virtual reality. And in this season, it deals with larger things such as the idea of artificial intelligence and so forth. Really cool anime series. If you haven't read the manga, or you can actually just watch the anime series. It's just as great. It's available on most platforms. I believe on Netflix, Hulu, and I prefer watching it on Verve, which is a great streaming platform, which has the great Crunchyroll app, which is one of the best anime streaming services you can get. But overall, yeah, if you're a fan of manga and anime, definitely check it out. And with that, we'll be concluding with this first part of the history of female comic book creators in America. Join me again next week. We'll begin the second part. Till then, go out and enjoy yourself. Good comic book.